Hey everyone, Amelia here from Higher Standards Caregiver Training. Welcome to this week's 10-Minute 2-Tip Tuesday. I have said that so many times now that I don't actually know if I'm saying it right every time, so just forgive me. Nonetheless, though, welcome to 10 minutes of hopefully the most fun education that you will receive all week, absolutely free. So before we get started, as always, this information is for education purposes only. Please, if anything that I say reminds you of someone that makes you think that that person might need medical care, make sure that that person is getting access to the correct medical provider to be assessed, evaluated, and treated as needed, because this is for education purposes only. Okay, now that that's over with, let's talk about the first tip. This is this is huge. This is a big one. This is an issue that comes up over and over and over again, almost constantly. I'd say that it's an issue that comes up that needs to be addressed in about 50% of the live caregiver trainings that I do. And that issue is aggression and dementia. So what I want to start with, is I want to just really clear something up, that aggression is not an issue that stems from dementia. Aggression, frustration, anger, anxiety, all of these things are not emotions from dementia. These are human emotions. If you put any single one of us in the right circumstance, we might all feel one or more of those emotions at the same time. So I think that's a really important place to start from, is that folks who have dementia are having an emotional response to something that is going on in their world, the way that they're perceiving it, the way that something is happening, their experience of something that's happening is causing that emotional response. So, and often if we can put ourselves in the position of the person who has dementia, often it becomes clear that most of the time, those responses are actually reasonable and logical, if we in turn put ourselves in those positions. So when I'm talking about aggression or frustration or agitation in folks who have dementia, when I'm doing live caregiver trainings, or even in my on-demand program, I want to make sure that we're looking at basically three different things to determine what might be the underlying cause of that behavior. So certainly, overall, we want to make sure that we are looking at patterns, right? If someone is having an aggressive or a frustrated or agitated response to something, let's first look at and take a step back, look at the bigger picture and think about, okay, so what is the pattern of this? Is it happening at a certain time of day? Is it happening with a certain activity or task? Is it happening under certain circumstances? And when we can step back and look and see if there's a pattern, often that can help us to identify what that underlying cause is. And there are three things that tend to be the general underlying causes. I apologize, by the way, if you hear something weird in the background. My training space is it had to have some maintenance done on it today. So I'm broadcasting from home, and you may hear a giant dog. I don't know. Anyway, so my apologies if you hear a giant dog or if a giant dog just comes into the picture here. So anyway, let me get back to it though. There are three basic things that tend to be the cause of these underlying emotional patterns. So often what can be the case is the person with dementia might be faced with a task that is too challenging for them. The same way you or I might get frustrated if you give us something that's too challenging. Here, I'll use myself as an example. So, and I'll just own this. I'm not great at math. I did fine up through, college statistics, but beyond that, you don't want me there. I'm pretty useless. So if you set me down and tried to have me do a calculus problem, I would not do well. If you really pushed me to do it, I might get pretty frustrated. If you really pushed me, I might throw my pencil across the room. I'm not saying I'm proud of that. I'm just saying that that might be my reaction if you ask me to do calculus. Folks who have dementia are, for a large part of their disease process, are aware that they are not necessarily able to do things as well as they used to be able to do them. And that's naturally frustrating. So if you notice someone is struggling with a task, it can be really helpful to simplify that task and make it less demanding so that it is still something that they can participate in, but they can participate in a way that doesn't make them feel embarrassed or frustrated. One of the other very common reasons why someone might become agitated or aggressive, sorry, I'm just looking at my list here, is if there is an unmet need, or maybe they have a need or a sensation and they can't communicate about that. So often in many forms of dementia, someone might get to a place where they're no longer able to communicate effectively about what their needs are. Or people may even get to a place where they're not even sure exactly what the sensations in their body might mean. And it can be scary. It can be anxiety provoking. So for example, the sensation of needing to use the restroom, perhaps having pain and not knowing where that's coming from, sensations of hunger. These are all needs that need to be met that person might not be able to communicate about very, very effectively. And that can lead towards some emotions that can be perceived as negative, things like frustration, anxiety, fear, acting out, etc. So if you're noticing that someone is having some of those emotions and they're not able to communicate their needs effectively, maybe just checking to see if they have a need that's unmet can be an effective way to resolve that. One of the other main ways, the third main way we're going to discuss today of why folks with dementia might become aggressive, is that often when we're providing care for folks with dementia, we have to provide care in situations in which they're quite vulnerable. I'm thinking about taking someone to the restroom, helping someone to bathe, helping someone to dress. These are vulnerable situations for another person to be in. Now, put yourself in the position of someone with dementia who may not know who you are. They may not know what is going on or why you're trying to do those things. And, if I didn't know you, you walked in my room and you started helping me to go to the bathroom, I might fight you too. So we want to be mindful of the fact that when we're caring for folks with dementia, we may be helping them when they're in a vulnerable position. They may not fully be aware of everything that's going on. It could be a very confusing situation. And so it's a very natural emotion for them to have to perhaps feel threatened or be aggressive. So we want to make sure that we're taking as many steps as we possibly can in order to make sure people are feeling comfortable, that they know what's going on, and that we're moving, slowly through the process in a way that helps them to feel safe. So I may have gone a little bit long on that, but that's kind of a big one. And it's an important one to know for folks who are caring for those who might have dementia. Moving on though, let's talk about tip number 2 for 10-Minute 2-Tip Tuesday. And that is, of course, as always, a tip for caregiving organizations. And today this is going to be, so I said in the kind of like teaser for this, it's one of the most important investments any caregiving organization can make. But really and truly, it might be the most important investment that any business can make. And that is investing in your people. When we're talking about caregiving organizations, of course, I am very specifically talking about investing in your caregivers and investing in the quality, in the type of regular high quality training that they need in order to get out there and go do the jobs that we are asking them to do. Investing in their training so that they are so that you have a shared value system in your culture as an organization, and certainly investing in their training so that they have the skills that they need to go do this job, protecting the clients that we all serve, and of course, themselves as well. Investing in your people. It makes them feel good because they know you care about them, and it makes it so they are better equipped to go and do the jobs that we're asking them to do. Okay. Oh, actually, speaking of that, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Continuum Therapy Partners. I had a fantastic conversation with Erin Parker from Continuing Therapy Partners today, and I wanted to bring them up because they're absolutely demonstrating, they are living this investment in their staff, in the people who are going out and doing the things that they need them to be doing as an organization. Watch for them coming. I'm pretty sure they're going to take over the world. They're an amazing example to follow for all of us out there. So big shout out to Continuum Therapy Partners. Also, if you want more information on dementia, especially emotions in dementia, Judy Cornish is a fantastic person to reach out for about that. And of course, you can reach out to myself as well. That said, that's it for me today. I hope everyone is well and healthy and happy. I will see you next week at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for next week's 10-Minute 2-Tip Tuesday. Until then, take care. Bye, y'all.